Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a massive stack of official documents, operational alerts, and hiking logistics, and we're going to try and synthesize them into a clear-cut strategy.
And the target is one of America's most complex and, beautiful national parks, Rocky Mountain National Park.
Right, RMMP up in northern Colorado. And our sources are, well, they're straight from the Park Service itself. We've got everything from detailed trail lists to these real-time alerts about construction and closures.
We're really looking past the scenic photos to get at the park's operational DNA.
Exactly. How does a place that's over 400 square miles actually work?
So our mission today is to move beyond just the basic map. We want to distill the essential logistics you need for a successful trip, sure, but also look at how the park is managed.
It's 350 miles of trails.
It's immense. And we want to understand the challenges of that east-west split and what makes a place like the Tundra Communities Trail so notable.
This is basically your shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. We're going to break down that crucial geographical divide, analyze why checking alerts is so important, and, get to the why behind the park's highest, most fragile areas. Okay, let's unpack this.
So when you look at RMMP, you really have to start with the geography. It's in northern Colorado, and its whole structure is defined by this massive centerpiece.
The Continental Divide?
The Continental Divide. It dictates everything: access, climate, how the park is managed.
And it literally splits the park into two very distinct halves, right? Each with its own way in.
That's it. On the east side, which is much busier, more developed, you have the Beaver Meadows and Fall River entrances.
Both near Estes Park?
Both near Estes Park. And then on the much quieter west side, you're looking at the Grand Lake entrance.
And that divide isn't just a line on a map, it's a physical barrier.
A fundamental logistical barrier.
Yeah.
Trail Ridge Road is the only road that crosses it inside the park, connecting the two sides.
But it's not open year-round.
Not even close. It's generally closed from, say, mid-October all the way to late May, sometimes early June. We're talking extreme snow, high winds.
So for more than half the year, you can't just drive through the park.
You can. If you want to get from Estes Park to Grand Lake in the winter, you have to drive hundreds of miles around the entire park.
Wow. That one single fact must completely change visitor flow for, 7 months.
It changes everything. And that's why, whether you're coming from the east or the west, the Park Service pushes you toward one of the 5 visitor centers.
They're more than just gift shops.
Oh, absolutely. They are the nerve centers for park logistics. This is where you get the real-time information. The Beaver Meadows Visitor Center on the east, for example, is where you find out about trail conditions.
But also the big stuff, right? Like whether you need a timed entry reservation or if there are fire restrictions.
Exactly. They are vital hubs for that dynamic information.
Okay, so let's pivot to that east side. That's where most people go, especially along the Bear Lake Road corridor.
It's the park's operational hotspot, for sure. It has the highest density of, those really popular, pretty accessible destinations.
Moraine Park, Sprague Lake, and of course Bear Lake itself.
And the hiking options there really show the range of what RMMP demands from you. The sources list everything from really short, high-altitude trails.
Like the Alpine Ridge Trail?
Right. That one's just over half a mile round trip, but it's way up there near the Alpine Visitor Center, almost at 12,000 feet.
So you can do that, or you can do a gentle, 0.6-mile loop around Bear Lake. Very accessible.
Or the 0.7-mile loop at Sprague Lake. But then you have the complete other end of the spectrum.
You're talking about Lawn Lake.
Lawn Lake. A formidable 12-mile round trip that's a serious full-day hike. It requires planning, gear, and a very early start.
And this brings us to the alerts, because the documents really hammer this home. Planning is useless if you don't check the real-time conditions.
It's a dynamic environment. Maintaining infrastructure is a constant battle against nature.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because the source material gives us a perfect case study. A temporary closure that affected some of the most popular trails.
Access to Dream Lake and Emerald Lake.
Which are huge draws.
Huge. And the closure was for an outlet bridge replacement project. And the schedule was, it was really fragmented.
Okay, break it down for us.
So the trail's Dream Lake is about 2.1 miles in. Emerald is 3.3, both starting from Bear Lake. Were closed Monday, September 29th through Thursday, October 2nd.
Okay, 4 days.
And then closed again the following week from October 6th to the 9th.
Wait a minute. So they systematically reopened that entire trail section for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the middle of a construction project.
That's it. That's the non-obvious takeaway. The Park Service made a conscious logistical decision here.
They prioritized weekend visitor access over, just getting the construction done as fast as possible.
Exactly. Instead of a single 2-week closure to get the job done efficiently, they structured it around high-demand weekend use. It's a fascinating look at that trade-off.
Visitor experience versus infrastructure development.
And they were very clear about offering alternatives. The alert noted that other big trails in the area, like the one to Lake Hiaha, were still open.
So you could still have a great hike in that corridor. You just had to be informed.
And be informed.
Okay, so now that we've dug into the very crowded, operationally dense east side, let's travel across the divide to the west side, near Grand Lake.
It's a completely different visitor profile over there. A distinct recreational profile.
So?
Well, it has great hiking, of course, but it also emphasizes things like cross-country skiing in the winter. It's generally a more dispersed, kind of less intense experience than the Bear Lake madness.
And you see that in the trail list. You have short ones like Adams Falls, which is less than a mile.
And then much longer ones like Lulu City at 7.4 miles or Granite Falls at over 10. But the key differentiator isn't just the trail density, it's the history.
The Holsworth Historic Site.
Absolutely. When you're on the west side, you can explore this site. And it's not just some old cabin. It's a preserved piece of the early 20th century.
A dude ranch.
A dude ranch and cattle operation in the Kawanish Valley. It's a living document of how this land was used before it became a national park, before the mandate shifted entirely to conservation.
That's a really powerful contrast to the kind of engineered trail experience you get on the east side.
It really is. And if you connect the dots between the trail names over there, Big Meadows, Cascade Falls, Colorado River, and the Holsworth site, a theme emerges.
Deeper exploration.
Deeper exploration, a connection to the historical roots of the land, and just a quieter, less logistically intensive experience.
Okay, so for this last section, let's focus on a place that really stood out across all our sources, the Tundra Communities Trail.
Yes. It was repeatedly flagged, and not just as a pretty walk. The language used was a notable destination in Colorado.
With unique features and cultural significance.
And when official park documents use those specific terms, it's code. It's code for an ecologically sensitive zone that requires very specialized management.
And given the name tundra, we're talking about the alpine environment, high altitude.
Way up there, above the tree line.
So what are these unique natural features that the sources keep mentioning?
We're talking about an extremely fragile ecosystem. There's permafrost in the soil, constant high winds, and a very, very short growing season.
So the plants are different.
Completely. They're tiny, things like cushion plants and grasses that grow incredibly slowly.
Yeah.
A single footprint off the designated path can destroy vegetation that took, decades to grow, and it might take decades more to recover.
Wow. Which I guess brings us to the cultural significance part. This isn't just about a pretty view.
No. In the context of the National Park Service, this trail is a key educational tool. It represents the history of how we've learned to interact with and conserve these high-altitude spaces.
It's like a benchmark for sustainable tourism in a fragile environment.
A global benchmark. And that's why the trail itself is so highly engineered. You'll often see boardwalks or paved sections. That's not just for accessibility.
It's a conservation measure
Yeah.
to keep people on the path.
Exactly. And it really underscores the variety in RMMP. You can go from those lush valley lakes like Dream and Nymph all the way up to this incredibly vulnerable alpine world.
It's clear that RMNP is really defined by its contrasts and its operational challenges.
So after distilling all these documents, what does this all mean for the informed visitor?
Well, it means the park offers this just astonishing range of experiences. You can do the easy loops, Bear Lake, Coyote Valley, or the huge 12-mile treks like Lawn Lake. But a successful trip really hinges on a two-pronged approach to planning.
Okay, what's prong one?
First, you have to understand that foundational geographical split. The east-west divide and the fact that Trail Ridge Road is seasonal, that's non-negotiable.
And prong two?
You have to integrate real-time operational analysis. You have to check the alerts. As we saw with that Dream Lake Bridge project, the park manages access dynamically. They might keep things open for you, but you have to know what's going on or risk total disappointment.
That tension, visitor management versus conservation, seems to be the park's central story.
I think so. And it leaves us with a final thought for you to consider. If we look at the Tundra Communities Trail, an area famous for its fragile, unique features, How does the National Park Service continually balance the need for that essential infrastructure work, like the bridge replacement, with the long-term absolute mission of protecting these vulnerable environments from ever-increasing visitor traffic?
That operational tightrope walk is something to really reflect on.
It is. So now you're informed, you're prepared, and you have the strategic knowledge to navigate RMNP like an expert. We'll see you next time.